In the veins of contemporary fiction, where betrayal intertwines with ambition, they laughed at me at the wedding, they weren't laughing at the divorce dares to unravel the complexities of love and revenge. If you've ever been underestimated, mocked in silence, or left for dust by those who swore loyalty, hit play and watch how it feels when the tables turn. The inspiration for this novel stemmed from the untold narratives hidden beneath the surface of gilded life's, a reminder that the laughter echoing through grand celebrations often masks deeper truths. Charlotte Ashford's journey from a seemingly naive bride to a formidable strategist is a testament to resilience and transformation. As she navigates the treacherous waters of betrayal, her story serves not only as a psychological thriller, but also as a fierce exploration of empowerment. This is a tale where trust becomes a weapon, and the courtroom transforms into a battleground of wits, culminating in an explosive rebirth. Every twist, every calculated move, beckons you to delve into the intricacies of Charlotte's metamorphosis. Prepare to be captivated and chilled as you witness a woman reclaiming her narrative against a backdrop of opulence and deceit. Don't just scroll past, subscribe, comment, and share this story if you've ever wanted to show the world that the best revenge is delivered in heels and a legal brief. Welcome to Charlotte's world where the real game begins. Chapter 1: Charlotte's Wedding Day. Laughter hides a dark secret. The laughter trails behind me like a ghost, insidious and sharp, cutting through the silk of my wedding gown. Each chuckle feels like a dagger, aimed not just at the union but at me, Charlotte Ashford, the girl who dared to think she belonged. The chandelier above glitters with a cruel brilliance, casting prisms of light that dance across the floor, illuminating the faces of those who never truly accepted me. They toast with crystal flutes filled with champagne, the bubbles rising like the facade. I wear a fragile mask that hides the tumult beneath. My heart beats louder than the soft strains of the string quartet, a frantic rhythm echoing in my ears as I step forward. Each movement a slow-motion replay of a dream I no longer recognize. Daniel stands at the altar, a picture of confidence in his tailored suit, his smile dazzling yet hollow, like the empty promises I've swallowed whole. His parents, seated in the front row, wear expressions of indulgent pride, but their eyes betray them. I can see it, the flicker of judgment, the whispered conspiracies that swirl like the fragrance of the exotic flowers at my side. I take a deep breath, the scent of roses, and something sordid fills my lungs. Is that the perfume of his mistress lingering in the air? The thought tightens my chest, and I force myself to smile. It's a practiced expression, one I've rehearsed in the mirror countless times, but today, it feels like a mask made of glass, beautiful but shatterable. The aisle stretches before me, a stage for this grand performance. Each step weighs heavier than the last, a reminder that I am not just walking towards him, I am walking into a trap. The opulence of the rooftop restaurant feels suffocating, the floor-to-ceiling glass encasing us like a fishbowl, where our lives are on display for the Boston elite. Out there, the city pulses with nightlife, secrets whispered through the streets, but here, it's all curated smiles and false warmth. As I reach the altar, the officiant's voice becomes a distant hum, drowned out by the cacophony of my racing thoughts. What am I doing? I am not just marrying Daniel. I am entangling myself deeper into a web of deceit woven by those who smile while sharpening their knives. Do you, Charlotte? The words wash over me, and I can't help but picture myself standing alone, a solitary figure in a sea of laughter. The whispers crescendo, mocking my navet, and I feel the heat creep up my neck. I glance at Evelyn, my former mother-in-law, her gaze gleaming with approval, or is it amusement? She's the queen of this social kingdom, and I the peasant in a ball gown. The officiant's voice drones on, a distant echo beneath the laughter that clings to the air like the cloying scent of jasmine. Daniel stands beside me, hands clasped, and I can feel the warmth radiating off him, yet there's an icy chill creeping down my spine. I glance at the guests, their polished smiles and expensive attire a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling within me. It's as if I am wrapped in a silk cocoon, the fabric luxurious but suffocating, each thread a reminder that I am an outsider in this gilded cage. Evelyn's eyes, sharp and discerning, cut through the haze of my thoughts. She sits primly, her posture a perfect portrait of old money grace, but I sense the tension beneath her serene facade. It's in the slight arch of her brow, the way her lips curl just enough to convey her disapproval without uttering a word. "You don't belong here," her gaze whispers, and I feel the weight of it pressing against my chest. With each passing moment, the laughter swells, a cacophony that drowns out my resolve. They are toasting to love, but I hear the undercurrent of mockery in their mirth. It's not just Daniel's family, it's the entire elite of Boston, all gathered here to witness my downfall. I am a curiosity to Thema, charming little experiment in social climbing. The thought ignites a flicker of defiance deep within me, a spark I can almost taste. "Do you, Charlotte, take this man?" The officiant's words break through the fog, and I feel the gaze of the congregation bore into me, as if they are waiting for me to crack. I want to scream, to flee this stage that feels more like a trap than a celebration. "Yes," I whisper, barely audible, but the word feels like a betrayal. Not just to myself, but to the woman I thought I would be. I can feel Daniel's warmth beside me, but it's a deceptive comfort, one that masks the cold truth of who he really is. The laughter continues, a melody of false joy that rings hollow in my ears. I catch the eye of Mia, my best friend, seated among the crowd. Her smile is genuine, a lifeline in this sea of polished facades. She nods slightly, a silent encouragement, but even that can't dispel the gnawing feeling of inadequacy that wraps around my heart like a vice. I am not the bride everyone expects me to be. I am just a girl who stumbled into a world of privilege, wearing borrowed dreams and a gown that fits too tightly around my insecurities. As the officiant drones on, I steal a glance at Daniel. His expression is one of serene confidence, but beneath that surface, I sense the cracks beginning to form. The laughter, the glances exchanged among his family, are like a chorus singing a song of betrayal, and I am the unwitting lead. I thought I could transform myself into their version of perfect, but now I see the futility of it. They will never accept me. "Charlotte," the officiant prompts again, and I realize I've been lost in thoughts of revenge and resentment. I force a smile that feels like glass beautiful, yet fragile. "And to have and to hold." I nod, feeling the room tighten around me. Each word is a chain, binding me to a man whose heart I can't trust, surrounded by a family that will never embrace me. The officiant's voice fades into a blur, drowned out by the laughter that rings in my ears like a cruel mockery. I stand at the altar, my heart racing, each beat echoing the unsung lyrics of a song I never wanted to perform. As I clutch the bouquet of white roses so pristine, so perfect I can't shake the feeling that I am not just exchanging vows. I am trading my freedom for a gilded cage. Daniel glances at me, his smile broad and confident, a man at the center of his own universe. He looks every bit the part of the charming groom, but I can't help but feel like a ghost haunting my own wedding. The guests, a sea of tailored suits and shimmering gowns, smile wide, their eyes glinting with the thrill of gossip. Each chuckle, each sideways glance feels like a needle prick, laced with judgment and condescension, and I am the subject of their amusement. To have and to hold, from this day forward. The efficient's words float past me, as ethereal as the shimmering lights from the chandelier above. I nod mechanically, feeling the weight of their expectation, the invisible strings pulling me deeper into a narrative I never wrote. "Charlotte, are you with us?" Daniel's voice cuts through my haze, and I force a smile, one that feels more like a grimace. Yes, I am here playing my part in this twisted play. But what they don't see, what none of them can comprehend, is the fire igniting within me, a smoldering ember of defiance. With each vow exchanged, I feel the grip of this fod tighten around my throat. I whisper, the words falling from my lips like a sacrificial offering. I can feel the laughter ripple through the crowd, the mockery cloaked in pleasantries, and I want to scream. I am not the knave girl they perceive. I am a woman standing on the precipice of transformation. As I look into Daniel's eyes, I see a glimmer of something pride, perhaps. No, it's arrogance, a self-assuredness that makes my skin crawl. He believes he holds the reins, that he can charm everyone, including me. But I am no longer the girl who walked down the aisle with stars in her eyes. I am a strategist in the making, and I won't let this moment define me. The laughter crescendos, and I can almost hear the whispers. Did you see her? What a fool she is. She thinks she's one of us. The weight of their disdain rolls over me like a wave, threatening to pull me under. But I refuse to drown. As I stand there, a bride at the altar, I begin to plot my escape. This isn't just a wedding, it's a masquerade ball, and I've been cast as the jester. So I will play the part, but I will do it with a wicked twist. I will gather my strength, my allies, and I will turn their laughter into my weapon. Charlotte, the efficient prompts again, and I snap back to reality, forcing myself to focus on the moment. The audience leans in, eager for the final act of our performance. I glance at Evelyn, her expression a mix of approval and amusement, and I know she's already counting my missteps. For richer or poorer, I walk down the aisle, my smile firmly in place, yet beneath it simmers a tempest of emotion, anger, humiliation, and an awakening hunger for something more. The laughter of the guests, meant to celebrate love, feels like a chorus mocking my every step. It intertwines with the scent of the white roses in my bouquet, a fragrance that should evoke romance, but instead clings to me like a shroud of deceit. As I pass by the glistening floor-to-ceiling glass that frames the Boston skyline, the city lights twinkle like stars, indifferent to the chaos unfolding within this gilded cage. I catch a glimpse of my reflection, a bride adorned in silk and lace, yet behind the veil lies a woman on the brink of transformation. This moment, meant to signify a new beginning, is instead the catalyst for my revenge. "Charlotte, are you ready?" Daniel's voice is smooth, a velvet trap I've walked into willingly, yet I can't help but recall the whispers of his family, their laughter a bitter echo. They see me as an interloper, a charming little experiment in social climbing. I am not just marrying Daniel. I am stepping into a world where reputation is currency and truth is a luxury few can afford. Of course, I reply, forcing my smile wider, as if it could mask the tempest brewing beneath my skin. He looks at me, blissfully unaware, believing that his charm can shield us from the storm. But I am no longer the knave girl who walked down this aisle with dreams spun from fairy tales. I am a strategist, and I won't let this moment define me. With each vow, I feel the weight of my decision, heavy and suffocating. To have and to hold, the efficient intones, and I can see the flicker of amusement in Evelyn's eyes, my former mother-in-law, as she raises her glass. A silent toast to my impending folly. The laughter ripples through the crowd, thick with disdain, and I want to scream. They are toasting to love, but I hear the undercurrent of mockery, how foolish I must seem, believing I could ever truly belong. As the ceremony drags on, I steal a glance at the guests, their polished smiles hiding a myriad of secrets. I am the outsider, the jester in their court, but I refuse to be a pawn in their game. The laughter swells, drowning out my resolve, and I realize I am standing at a crossroads. Charlotte, the officiant's voice breaks through my haze, and I snap back to the present. And to love, honor, and cherish. Yes, I whisper, the words slipping from my lips like a sacrificial offering. I can feel their eyes on me, dissecting every inch of my carefully crafted faud. I am a curiosity, a fleeting distraction, but I will not remain a mere footnote in their story. As I walk back down the aisle, the applause ringing hollow, I let the anger fuel my transformation. This is not the end. It's merely the beginning of a meticulously planned revenge. I will gather my strength like a silent storm, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash the full fury of my wrath. "Charlotte, we did it!" Daniel exclaims, his eyes sparkling with naive joy, and I force a smile that feels like glass, beautiful yet fragile. But in my heart, I know I am just getting started. The laughter may fade, but my determination to reclaim my power is about to ignite. Chapter 2. A crimson-lipped stranger leaves clues of betrayal. The scent hits me like a punch, sweet, cloying, and achingly familiar. It curls around me, wrapping itself in a seductive embrace that feels foreign yet tantalizing. I step into my car, a sleek black luxury model parked beneath the sprawling oaks of our upscale Boston suburb, and the air thickens with the unmistakable fragrance of a woman's perfume. I glance around, half expecting to see a figure hiding in the shadows, but the only witnesses to my growing unease are the silent pines and the watching eyes of my neighbors, who are probably peeking through their curtains, sipping their artisanal coffee, and judging every moment of my life. I reach for the dashboard, fingers brushing over the smooth surface until they find its small, crimson bottle nestled between the seats, glinting like a ruby in the sun. I can't help but snicker softly, the sound bitter on my tongue. A crimson lip print smudged across the glass top, a cruel signature left behind by an unknown mistress. My heart races, a wild stallion kicking against the bars of its cage. Daniel, I feel it in my bones, his charm is a thin veil for his treachery. This wasn't just a slip-up. It was a message. "What a game you're playing, Daniel," I whisper to the empty car, my voice laced with mockery and something darker, determination. "Let's see how well you play when the stakes get higher." I settle back in the driver's seat, the scent swirling around me, weaving fantasies of revenge where once there was only trust. I can almost hear the laughter from my wedding day high's family's condescending chuckles echoing in my mind. I thought I was stepping into a fairy tale, but I am only now realizing it was a tragicomedy, and I am no longer the naive bride. I pull out my phone, the device suddenly feeling like a weapon nestled in my hand. Time to gather evidence. I will play the role of the dutiful wife for now, but I need to be a strategist, not just a damsel. A dossier of deceit with every detail, carefully curate photographs, timelines, and witnesses to his betrayal. I can already envision the courtroom, the sharp suits of my legal team, their eyes glimmering with ruthless ambition. I drive to the nearest cafe, a local haunt where the elite gather, their whispered conversations and side glances the real currency in this town. I can almost taste the gossip in the air, rich and intoxicating, a heady mix of secrets and ambition. I will order a latte, but not just for caffeine. I need to blend in, to observe. As I step inside, the barista greets me with a knowing smile, one that suggests she's already privy to the latest scandal. I offer a tight smile in return, feeling the weight of my resolve settle on my shoulders like a tailored coat. I am not just a woman scorned, I am a force to be reckoned with. I take a seat by the window, pretending to scroll through my phone while absorbing the room. The laughter and light chatter fill my ears, but it's the sharp glances and hushed whispers I am focused on. I catch snippets of conversation about Daniel's recent business ventures, his endless charm, and the whispers of the woman with crimson lips. My heart races, not from fear but from the thrill of the hunt. I am not healing, I am handling. The silence wraps around me like a cashmere shawl, soft yet suffocating. I sit in the elegantly decorated living room, the plush furnishings a stark contrast to the tumult churning inside me. The soft lighting casts a warm glow, but I feel anything but warm. My home, once a sanctuary, now feels like a gilded cage, each decorative piece a reminder of the betrayal lurking beneath our carefully curated life. I stare at the crimson bottle on the coffee table, its glossy surface reflecting my unease. Daniel's scent, mingled with the perfume of his mistress, lingers like a ghost. It's as if the very air around me is tainted by her presence. I can almost see her, a fleeting shadow in my peripheral vision, laughing with those perfect crimson lips, savoring the deceit that has seeped into the very fabric of my existence. As I lean back against the plush cushions, memories cascade through my mind. Each moment of intimacy shared between Daniel and me now feels tainted, like a beautiful painting defaced by a careless brushstroke. I remember the way he used to wrap his arms around me, pulling me close, whispering sweet nothings that now echo hollowly in my ears. "Did you ever mean a word of it?" I murmur into the quiet room, half expecting a response from the walls that have witnessed our love, our laughter, and now our unraveling. I can still picture the cozy dinners, the candlelit conversations, and the stolen kisses that felt like promises. But those promises were built on a foundation of lies, and now, all I feel is the tremor of betrayal coursing through my veins. I've spent too long in this state of denial, wrapped in the comfort of ignorance. Daniel's charming smile, the way he looked at me with that glimmer of love, how easily I was fooled. The laughter that once filled our home now feels like a cruel mirage, mocking me with every tick of the clock. No more. I am done being the victim of someone else's narrative. Rising from the couch, I pace the room, my heels clicking against the polished hardwood floor like a metronome counting down the seconds until I reclaim my narrative. I can't confront him yet, not when I am armed with little more than suspicion and a bottle of perfume. I need to gather evidence, a cold, hard proof of his infidelity. As I move to the study, the room lined with leather-bound books and framed memories, I pull open the drawer of my desk. Inside, I find the notepad I've used for years, its pages filled with thoughts and aspirations, but now it will serve a different purpose. I flip to a fresh page and start to write, my pen gliding across the paper with newfound determination. Gather evidence, I scrawl. Document everything. The action feels cathartic, like shedding skin. I will become a strategist in my own life, a player in the game that Daniel has turned our marriage into. I can already envision the courtroom stage where I will take back control. I will dress in power, wield my words like weapons, and expose him for the charlatan he is. Each stroke of my pen feels like a promise to myself, a vow that I will not be crushed under the weight of his lies. I am not just his wife. I am Charlotte Ashford, and I will rise from the ashes of this betrayal. I put down my pen and look around the room, the soft light illuminating the details I once cherished. I slide into my usual spot at the cafe, a chic little nook called the Velvet Roost, where the chandeliers twinkle like diamonds, and the air is thick with the scent of artisanal coffee and gossip. The rustle of silk and the clink of designer handbags surround me, a symphony only the elite can conduct. It's a place where whispers travel faster than the espresso, and today, I am armed with a scandal of my own. Mia arrives moments later, her entrance a whirlwind of energy that draws eyes like moths to a flame. Her hair, a cascade of dark waves, bounces with each step, and she wears the kind of confidence that could command a room. I can already see the outrage brewing in her cerulean eyes before she even sits down. "What's wrong?" she demands, her voice low but urgent as she leans across the table, her manicured fingers curling around her latte like a lifeline. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I take a breath, feeling the weight of the crimson bottle in my purse like a ticking time bomb. "I found something in my car, Mia," I say, lowering my voice as if the walls themselves might be eavesdropping. His mistress left her perfume. A crimson lip print, too. The words hang in the air, heavy and charged. Mia's expression morphs from concern to fury, and I can almost see the gears turning in her head. "That bastard," she hisses, her voice a blend of disbelief and anger. "He thinks he can just waltz around Boston with another woman and leave you with nothing but the stench of betrayal. Not on my watch." I can't help but smile at her fierce loyalty, even as the reality of my situation crashes over me like a wave. I am not going to confront him. "Not yet," I say, my voice steady. "I need to gather evidence to show him just who he's dealing with." Mia's brows knit together, and she leans back in her chair, arms crossing over her chest in defiance. "You know you're not alone in this, right? I will stand by you whatever it takes, but you have to take control of your narrative, Charlotte. You're smarter than this. Let him think he's playing the game while you build your strategy." Her words resonate deep within me, igniting a fire I didn't realize was simmering beneath the surface. I am tired of being the victim, tired of wearing the mask of the dutiful wife while I watch my life unravel. I need to be the architect of my own revenge, not merely a spectator in this twisted play. I promise, my voice firm. I will document everything. I will create a dossier, photos, timelines, witnesses. I will make sure everyone sees him for the fraud he is. Mia leans in closer, her tone dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "And when you do, darling, make sure you don't just take half, take his blood. Make him regret every moment he spent in that perfect little bubble of deception." The thrill of plotting our revenge sends shivers down my spine, the kind that feels both dangerous and exhilarating. I look around at the other patrons, sipping their lattes and exchanging glances, and suddenly I feel like the puppet master controlling the strings. "Let's make sure the world knows your story," Mia says, her smile fierce. "You're Charlotte Ashford, not some nameless wife." The afternoon sun streams through the tall windows of my home office, illuminating the chaos I've created, a symphony of papers, photographs, and post-it notes plastered across my desk like a collage of betrayal. Each piece tells a story, a thread of Daniel's deceit woven into the fabric of our life together. I've transformed my space into a war room where I will meticulously plot my revenge while maintaining the perfect facade of normalcy to the outside world. I sit at the mahogany desk, its polished surface reflecting my resolve. The scent of fresh coffee lingers in the air, mingling with the faint trace of the crimson perfume that ignited this fire within me. The bottle sits on the corner, a silent reminder of the game I am now playing. My fingers glide over the keyboard, typing out notes with a precision that feels almost euphoric. Date of the affair, I mutter under my breath, my voice steady. Location, the Imperial Palace. Witnesses, the staff if they are willing to talk. Each keystroke is a small victory, a reclaiming of power that I had thought lost forever. I scroll through my phone, flicking through photos of Daniel at various high-profile events, laughing. Smilinjich snapshot a dagger in the pit of my stomach. No longer will I be the naive bride who believed in his charm. I will be the architect of my own liberation. I glance at the window, the view of the upscale Boston suburbs sprawling before me, a landscape dotted with pristine lawns and homes that radiate wealth and reputation. Out there, the elite live their lives, blissfully unaware of the tempest brewing within my walls. The air crackles with unspoken secrets, and I feel like I am standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to leap into the unknown. What's the worst that can happen? I ask myself, the question a dare. I take back control. I expose him. Or maybe, just maybe, I become the woman I was always meant to be. I pull out a folder labeled evidence and begin to organize my findings. Photos of Daniel with his mistress at local trattorias, their laughter spilling into the night like poisoned wine. I can almost hear the clinking of glasses, their private jokes dripping with intimacy that should have been mine. I slide in a photo of him with Evelyn, his mother, her eyes glinting with the privilege of old money, a woman who would never accept me. Let them laugh, I whisper, my voice thick with determination. Let them underestimate me. With each document I file away, I feel the weight of my past naivety begin to lift. I am not merely his wife. I am Charlotte Ashford, a force to be reckoned with. The laughter that once haunted me is now a distant echo, replaced by the steady rhythm of my heartbeat, each thump a promise of vengeance. I lean back in my chair, looking around the room that has transformed from a sanctuary into a battlefield. My eyes land on the framed photographs of our wedding day, the smiles frozen in time, now tainted by betrayal. How easily I wore the mask of the perfect wife, believing in a love that was as ephemeral as the champagne bubbles that fizzed away. Never again, I vow, my voice barely above a whisper. I will not be the punchline of a joke. I will be the author of my own story. The thrill of plotting sends a shiver down my spine. Chapter 3: The Courtroom Showdown. Who will win the battle of wits? The courtroom is a cold, sterile jungle, and I am the lion stepping into the arena, heart racing but face perfectly composed. Sunlight filters through the high windows, casting sharp shadows that dance across the marble floor, a stark contrast to the tension simmering in the air. It's a place where reputations are shredded, where betrayal takes center stage, and I am here to unveil the darkest act of all, Daniel's lies. I glance at the spectators filling the pews, their eyes gleaming like vultures waiting for a feast. There's an uncomfortable energy, a mix of anticipation and dread, that wraps around me tighter than the satin of my tailored blazer. I can almost hear their whispers, the familiar mocking tones that once echoed at my wedding, now repurposed for this moment. They think they know the story, but today, I am the one holding the pen. Daniel sits at the plaintiff's table, his smug confidence radiating off him like heat from asphalt on a summer day, oblivious to the storm brewing in the courtroom. He's dressed in his usual designer suit, tailored to perfection, looking every bit the charming husband who never existed. But I see through it old facade, the carefully crafted image, the man who thought he could play me like one of his stock investments. Mia is beside me, a fierce ally draped in a vibrant red dress that screams power. She squeezes my hand, a reminder that I am not alone in this fight. "You're ready for this," she whispers, her voice steady. I nod, willing my breath to slow. This isn't just about the divorce. It's about reclaiming my narrative, taking back the power he thought he could strip away. As the judge enters, the gavel strikes with a reverberating authority, cutting through the silence like a knife. Court is now in session. The words hang in the air, heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. I can feel the eyes of the press on me, their cameras poised to capture every flicker of emotion, every nuance of my expression. Today, we will hear the case for divorce and the allegations of infidelity. The judge announces, glancing at Daniel, who wears a mask of feigned innocence. The corners of my mouth twitch at the absurdity. Innocent, he might as well wear a sign that says guilty. I take a deep breath, centering myself as I prepare to lay my evidence bare. My heart pounds not from fear, but from the thrill of the hunt. I am no longer the naive bride. I am a strategist, a warrior adorned in the armor of confidence. The stakes are high, but I've always thrived in the chaos of a battlefield. As I rise to speak, the world narrows down to just me and the judge. The courtroom blurs into the background, and I can almost taste the metallic tang of victory on my tongue. Your Honor, I begin, my voice steady. What I am about to reveal is not just a story of betrayal. It is a testament to the truth that lies beneath the surface. And with that, I watch as the courtroom shifts, the air thickens, the whispers grow louder, and I can sense the first crack in Daniel's carefully constructed world. The hunt for justice has begun, and I am no longer the prey. The game is on, and I intend to win. On, and I intend to win. The courtroom feels like a stage, and I am the lead actress ready to unveil the truth. My lawyer stands at the front, a sleek figure in a tailored navy suit, exuding a calm confidence that I am desperately trying to absorb. The air is thick with tension, every eye in the room trained on us like a pack of wolves watching their prey. Your Honor, he begins, his voice cutting through the murmur of anticipation. We present evidence that will demonstrate the defendant's pause for effect, infidelity. The gasps ripple through the courtroom like a shockwave. I can almost taste the disbelief on their tongues, mixed with the bitter sweetness of vindication. Daniel shifts in his seat, the smug confidence melting off his face like wax under a flame. My heart races, but I am not afraid. No, this is the moment I've been waiting for. The moment where all the whispers and laughter, the mocking tones that haunted my wedding day, transform into gasps of horror as they confront the reality of the man they thought they knew. My lawyer continues, pulling out a sleek tablet, the screen glowing with damning evidence. Let's begin with a series of text messages. He swipes, and the court is suddenly filled with the words Daniel exchanged with his mistress, each text a dagger aimed right at his carefully curated image. I can see the color drain from his face as the words flash on the screen, the details of late-night rendezvous and sweet nothings unraveling the tapestry of his lies. I can't wait to see you again. You make me feel alive. Those words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. I can almost hear the echo of my heart, pounding not in fear but in the exhilaration of revenge. Your Honor, my lawyer presses on, these messages were exchanged during the period of the marriage. I glance at Daniel, whose face is a mask of disbelief, eyes wide, mouth slightly agape. It's a look I've longed to see. The moment he realizes he's no longer in control. The whispers around the courtroom grow louder, a cacophony of shock and intrigue. They love a scandal, especially one that pierces their carefully maintained veneer of respectability. Mia squeezes my hand from the gallery, her eyes sparkling with unrestrained glee. This is it, Charlotte. You're doing it. I meet her gaze and allow a flicker of a smile. This isn't just about the evidence. It's about reclaiming my story. The narrative has shifted, and I am no longer the naive bride walking into a gilded cage. I am the phoenix, rising from the ashes of betrayal, and I will burn bright. The lawyer shifts to the photographs, each one a snapshot of betrayal, the kind of images that would make even the most hardened socialite gasp. He holds them up, one by one, projecting them onto the screen, illuminating the dark corners of Daniel's deception. Here, we see the defendant with his mistress, looking blissfully unaware of the consequences looming over his head. Another gasp. I can practically hear the clinking of champagne flutes in my mind, the laughter of those who once mocked me now transformed into murmurs of sympathy. Your Honor, my lawyer continues, voice steady, I submit these as evidence not only of infidelity, but of the character of the man standing before you. I take a deep breath as I step up to the witness stand, the polished wood gleaming under the fluorescent lights. This is my moment, not just to recount the betrayal that shattered my marriage, but to weave a tale that transforms me from victim to victor. The courtroom is a theater of power. I am ready to perform. Ms. Ashford, the judge prompts, his voice dry as the parchment that holds our fates. Please state your full name for the record. Charlotte Ashford, I say, my voice steady, but inside, I feel a maelstrom of emotions swirling. This isn't merely about a name. This is about reclaiming my identity from the ashes of deceit. The gallery's eyes bore into Messam, filled with sympathy, others with contempt. I can spot Evelyn sitting behind Daniel, her expression a blend of disbelief and disdain. She thought I would be broken, a shattered doll left to collect dust on a shelf. Instead, I plan to shine under the spotlight. Can you describe your relationship with the defendant? The judge asks, and I launch into my narrative, each word carefully chosen as if I were selecting jewels to adorn my story. Daniel and I were married for 4 years, I begin, my voice low yet unwavering. To the outside world, we were the perfect couple. But behind closed doors, I was living a Leon that he orchestrated with a finesse that only the privileged can master. The courtroom is silent, wrapped with attention. I can feel the tension thickening like fog rolling over the Boston harbor. I found out about the affair not through honesty, but by stumbling upon Cluse perfume on the seat of my car, late-night texts that made my skin crawl. The words spill from my mouth, each syllable a calculated strike against the faade he once wore so proudly. It felt as if I was suffocating, drowning in a sea of betrayal while he swam freely in the shallow waters of his own deception. I catch Daniel's gaze, and for a fleeting moment, I see a flicker of vulnerability. It's intoxicating, this feeling of control. I am not just speaking. I am rewriting the narrative, flipping the script from tragedy to triumph. Can you tell us about your emotional state upon discovering these truths? The judge's voice breaks through my reverie, and I press on, unflinching. Devastated, I admit, letting the weight of the word hang in the air. But it didn't take long for that devastation to morph into something else, something fiercer. I became a woman on a mission. I was no longer merely Charlotte. I was a force to be reckoned with. I feel the energy shift in the room, like an electric current surging through the air. I can almost taste the fear rolling off Daniel. Did you confront the defendant about your findings? The judge queries, and I shake my head, a small smile playing at the corners of my lips. No, I reply, relishing the tension. Confrontation would have been too easy. Instead, I chose to gather evidence quietly, methodically. I learned that trust is a weapon in the hands of the elite, and I was determined to wield it. My heart races as I glance at Mia in the gallery, her eyes wide with anticipation. I can see the pride glimmering in her gaze, a silent acknowledgement of the transformation I've undergone. The tension in the courtroom is palpable, thick as fog rolling in from the harbor. I can feel it wrapping around me, a cloak of power that warms my skin even as it chills Daniel to the bone. The judge's gavel strikes the final note, reverberating through the silence, and suddenly the air is alive with whispers like the rustling of silk on a dance floor, eager and conspiratorial. "Your Honor," my lawyer concludes, his voice steady, "the evidence speaks for itself. We ask you to consider not just the facts, but the character of the man standing before you." Daniel shifts in his seat, and I catch the flicker of desperation in his eyes. The smug confidence that once defined him is gone, replaced by a grimace that twists his handsome features into something unrecognizable. I relish the sight, my lips curving into a smile that feels almost wicked. I glance over at Mia, who sits in the gallery, her eyes sparkling with mischief. She gives me a slight nod, an unspoken promise that we've turned the tide. This isn't just a courtroom, it's our arena, a stage upon which I've rewritten my narrative. The whispers grow louder, a symphony of gossip echoing through the hall, and I can almost taste the sweet vindication on my tongue. As I sit there, I feel the shift in the room, a palpable wave of sympathy washing over me. It's intoxicating, this newfound power. No longer am I the knave bride. I am the architect of my own destiny, the author of a tale that will be whispered about in the Boston elite. I am transforming in front of their eyes, and Thayer captivated. "Mrs. Ashford," the judge's voice breaks through my thoughts, grounding me. "Is there anything else you wish to add before we conclude?" I lean forward, the silk of my blouse brushing against my skin, a reminder of my strength. "Only that I believe the truth is powerful, Your Honor. And sometimes the truth wears a mask of betrayal, hiding behind a smile." Daniel's expression hardens, and the anger radiating from him is almost tangible. I can see it in the tightening of his jaw and the way his hands clench into fists. He's unraveling, and it's beautiful to watch. "Your Honor," he interjects, his voice shaky but laced with defiance, "this is all a fabrication. A desperate attempt to paint me as the villain when in reality enough." The judge interrupts, his voice slicing through Daniel's protest like a knife through butter. "This isn't about you, Mr. Ashford. It's about the evidence presented and the implications of your actions." The courtroom bursts into a low murmur, the tension sizzling like electricity in the air. I can imagine the headlines, already a scandal that will leave my name etched in their memories. "Charlotte Ashford, the woman who exposed a lie." Mia leans forward, whispering just loud enough for me to hear, "You've got this, Charlotte." You've turned their laughter into applause. The corners of my mouth lift slightly. The laughter that once echoed at my wedding, those derisive chuckles that mocked my place in this world, have transformed into something else entirely. Now, it's not just about revenge, it's about reclamation. I am not just a woman scorned, I am a force of nature. Chapter 4, Dressed in Red. Charlotte's stunning gala transformation. I step into the grand entrance of the gala, a cascade of crimson silk swirling around me like the flames of a phoenix rising from the ashes. The lights shimmer off my dress, igniting whispers among the crowd. I can feel their eyes, the mix of admiration and jealousy curling around me like a lover's embrace. Thayer not laughing no, Thayer watching, and the thrill of their attention is intoxicating. The venue is a visual feast, draped in opulence golden chandeliers, glinting against floor-to-ceiling windows that overlook the Boston skyline. Each table is adorned with flickering candles, casting a soft glow that dances across the faces of the elite. The air is thick with the scent of expensive perfume and the clinking of crystal glasses, a symphony of wealth and status that I now command. I glide through the throng of guests, my heart steady, my head held high. This is my moment, a stage where I am no longer the naive bride but a force tempered by betrayal and rebirth. I catch glimpses of familiar faces, some wear masks of feigned delight, while others reveal their true colors, intrigue and disdain. Evelyn Sinclair stands at the edge of the crowd, her expression a carefully crafted blend of contempt and curiosity. The matriarch of privilege, watching her former daughter-in-law reclaim her narrative. Charlotte, she calls, her voice dripping with saccharine sweetness, you look different. It's a backhanded compliment, a reminder of the woman I once was. Thank you, Evelyn. I figured it was time to shed my old skin. I smile, a flash of teeth that could slice through silk. The words hang in the air, a subtle challenge. She doesn't respond, but I can see the flicker of surprise in her eyes. As I weave through the crowd, I spot Daniel, his jaw tightening as he processes the stunning apparition I've become. He's surrounded by a gaggle of socialites, each vying for his attention, but I can see the way his gaze tracks me. There's a flicker of something shock, perhaps before he masks it with a charming smile, though the facade is cracking. He approaches, but I am not the one who needs to be careful anymore. Charlotte, he starts, his voice smooth like the whiskey he's been sipping, you look incredible. Thank you, Daniel, but you know what's more incredible? The fact that I've managed to thrive after you. I let the words linger, sharp and sweet, like a perfectly aged wine. He shifts uncomfortably, a flicker of panic crossing his face, but I revel in it. The room buzzes with energy, and I can feel the shift in dynamics. I am no longer the underdog, I am the lioness. I can almost taste the fear in the air, mingling with the notes of expensive perfumes and the laughter that fills the space. Shall we dance? He offers, extending a hand toward me, the audacity, as if I would ever grant him that intimacy again. Dance, I echo, tilting my head. I think I will pass. I would rather not step back into the past tonight. I turn away, letting him stew in the consequences of his actions, a man who once thought he had the upper hand, but now finds himself on shaky ground. The night unfolds like a dream, each moment a brushstroke on the canvas of my resurgence. I glide through the ballroom, the laughter and chatter enveloping me like a luxurious cashmere shawl, soft, warm, and just a little intoxicating. The air is thick with the scent of expensive perfume, mingling with the rich aroma of the decadent hors d'oeuvres being passed around. Each clink of crystal glasses is like a bell tolling, announcing my arrival to the social elite of Boston. I can feel their eyes on me, a mixture of awe and envy that wraps around my shoulders like the finest silk. A small gaggle of socialites gathers nearby, their laughter a sharp, tinkling sound. They are discussing the latest fashion trends and whose daughter got into Harvard. But I know they are really discussing me. I catch snippets of their conversation, carefully curated compliments laced with just the right amount of disdain. Isn't she the one who did you hear about her divorce? Such a scandal. The words hang in the air, and I can almost see the invisible strings of gossip weaving through the crowd. Oh, they think they are being discreet, but I am no longer the knave bride who walked into the lion's den. I am the lioness now, and they are simply the prey, circling around me, unsure of how to approach. Charlotte, darling. A voice like honey drips through the noise, and I turn to see Mia approaching, her presence a welcome balm. She's a whirlwind of energy, dressed in a chic black number that hugs her curves effortlessly. You look amazing, like you just stepped out of a Vogue cover. Thank you, Mia. Just channeling all the power I've accrued from the last 6 months of plotting. I wink, and we share a conspiratorial smile that says we both know the depths I've traversed to get here. Let's show them what we're made of, she says, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Together, we navigate the sea of high society, each interaction a calculated move in a game I've mastered. I engage in light banter, my wit sharper than the heels of my stilettos. Did you hear about the Ashford divorce? Quite the spectacle. I lean close to one woman, a socialite draped in jewels that glimmer like her shallow personality. I hear Charlotte is taking the castle and the country club membership. They say revenge is best served cold, but I think it's better served with a side of luxury. Gasps ripple through the crowd, and I can see the flickers of intrigue sparking in their eyes. Thayer not just watching a woman fight back, Thayer witnessing the birth of a legend. Mia nudges me, her voice low. You're on fire tonight. They'll be talking about this for weeks. As we wander to the bar, I catch Daniel's gaze across the room. He's surrounded by sycophants, but his eyes dart to me like a moth drawn to flame. I can almost taste his discomfort. It's a rich, heady brew that fills me with a sense of satisfaction. He thought he could bury me beneath the weight of his betrayal, but here I stand, a towering inferno of resilience and allure. Let's toast, Mia says, raising her glass of champagne, the bubbles dancing playfully. To new beginnings. To new beginnings, I echo, clinking my glass against hers. The sound is crisp, as if sealing a pact between U-Zone that declares no one will silence our laughter, especially not the men who think they. The music pulses through the ballroom, a seductive rhythm that mirrors the quickening pace of my heart. I am a coiled spring, no longer the puppet Daniel thought he could control. As I sip my champagne, the bubbles tickle my lips, a reminder of the effervescence I've reclaimed. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I see him, Daniel, striding toward me like he owns the place, dressed in a tailored suit that fits him like a lie. Charlotte, he says, faux charm spilling from his lips like the overpriced wine he's been sampling. You look stunning. Thank you, Daniel. It's amazing what a little freedom can do for a woman's appearance. I reply, letting the words drip with honey and venom. His smile falters, just for a moment, before he recovers, flashing that perfect veneer of confidence he's always worn like armor. The air between us thickens, charged with a tension that could ignite the very fabric of this extravagant gala. Around us, the laughter of the elite continues, a backdrop to our private drama. I can feel their eyes curious, hungry like spectators at a gladiator match. Can we talk? He asks, stepping closer, invading my space with the audacity of someone who believes he can reclaim what's been lost. I tilt my head, feigning contemplation. Talk? Is that what you call it? Last time we talked, you were busy with someone else in our bed. My voice is low, but the sting of my words cuts through the air sharper than the clinking of glasses. His breath catches, the flicker of panic in his eyes is delicious. I savor it, knowing I am not the one standing on shaky ground anymore. Charlotte, I didn't mean for things to end up like this. You have to believe me. Believe you. I scoff, taking a deliberate sip of my champagne. You mean like I believed you when you said I was your everything. Please, spare me the theatrics. His jaw tightens, and I can see the wheels turning in his mind, desperately trying to charm the woman he once took for granted. The guests around us have shifted their focus, and I can feel the energy of the room tilt in my favor. I am no longer the subject of their whispers. I've become the main event, a spectacle Thayer, all too eager to witness. Charlotte, he starts, attempting to soften the edges of his tone, but I am not in the mood for his sweet nothings. Let's be honest, Daniel, you don't get to walk back into my life like you're the hero of this story. You're not even a footnote. You're the bad chapter I've closed. My voice is steady, and each word is a calculated strike, revealing the depths of my transformation. He takes a step back, the realization washing over him like a cold wave. I can almost hear the collective gasp from the crowd, the thrill of watching a woman reclaim her power. It's intoxicating. Charlotte, I save it. I've heard enough. I cut him off, relishing the way his facade crumbles, revealing the vulnerability that lurks beneath the surface. Tonight is about me, and I intend to shine. You, on the other hand, are just a shadow of what I've left behind. The evening unfurls around me like the crimson silk of my dress, each moment a chapter in a story I've rewritten with fierce determination. The laughter of Boston's elite, once a cacophony of derision, now dances in the air like a symphony of sweet triumph. I am not merely a participant in this gala. I am the narrative, the spine of the evening, and their whispers are the soundtrack to my newfound power. Mia and I find a quiet alcove adorned with plush velvet couches and flickering candlelight, the shadows playing tricks on the walls around us. The delicate clink of crystal glasses punctuates the air, a reminder of the extravagance that surrounds us. To new beginnings, I say, raising my glass to her, the champagne glistening like liquid gold in the dim light. To new beginnings, Mia echoes, her eyes sparkling with mischief and pride. We clink our glasses, and I take a sip, letting the bubbles tickle my senses. It's a reminder of everything I've fought for: me freedom, my strength, my identity. Can you believe this? I glance around, taking in the lavishness of the ballroom, the towering floral arrangements, the decadent chandeliers dripping with crystals, and the laughter that feels like it's meant for me. Just 6 months ago, I was a woman drowning in expectations. Now look at us. Mia nods, a knowing smile dancing on her lips. You've transformed from the bride who walked down that aisle into a woman who commands attention. They're not laughing now, are they? Not at me, no. I smirk, letting the warmth of my triumph wash over me. The faces that once looked down upon me now reflect envy and all a heady cocktail I relish. I am the one steering this ship now, and they are merely passengers on my journey. As I savor the moment, I can't help but reflect on the dark corners of my past, the insecurities that once shackled me. Daniel's betrayal had been a blow, but it had also ignited something deep within, a fire that refused to be extinguished. I've learned that power isn't about domination. It's about self-mastery, about recognizing that my worth isn't tied to the man I married, but to the woman I've become. Charlotte, you're on fire tonight, Mia says, her voice low but filled with admiration. I almost feel bad for Daniel. Almost. Her laughter is a melody, a sound I've grown to cherish. In this world of polished personas, she is my ally, my confidante, the one who knows the depths I've explored to emerge victorious. He's just a footnote in my story now, I reply, my tone dripping with satisfaction. I am not the knave bride anymore. I am the author of my own narrative. With each sip of this champagne, I can feel the weight of his betrayal lifted, replaced instead by the promise of what's to come. The crowd ebbs and flows around us, a tide of silk and sequins, but I am anchored, centered. I catch Daniel's eye again, and there's a flicker of desperation in his gaze, a look I've longed to see since our marriage crumbled. He's surrounded by sycophants, but he's no longer the sun around which I revolve. I am the star now, illuminating my own path. Let's make a pact, I say, leaning closer to Mia, my voice low and conspiratorial. Chapter 5. Charlotte's Final Act. The Ultimate Revenge Unveiled. The lounge of the Private Members Club envelops me in an embrace of luxury and secrecy, the kind I would once thought was reserved for others, those who were born to this world of velvet seating and low, intimate lighting. Now, the scent of aged whiskey and polished wood fills my lungs, igniting a fire that courses through my veins. I can almost taste the ambition that swirls around me like smoke. Tonight, I am not just a woman with a grudge. I am a force, a reckoning wrapped in a sleek black dress that clings to my curves like a well-placed whisper. The laughter that once echoed through the halls of my wedding, a cruel symphony mocking my navet, now fuels the power that radiates from me. They laughed then, but it's a different tune tonight. I catch a glance in the mirror-me reflection is a reminder of how far I've come, how much I've transformed. I am no longer the timid bride stepping into a gilded cage. I've shed that skin like an old snake, and what remains is a woman who knows her worth, who understands the delicate dance of power. The shadows playing across the walls of the lounge seem to nod in approval as I stride forward, each step a declaration of my intent. I can feel the eyes of the elite upon me, their curiosity piqued, their whispers laced with a mix of admiration and envy. Where is Daniel? I want him to see me like this, unyielding and unapologetic. He thinks he can walk away from the wreckage he caused, but I have news for him. This isn't just about the settlement. It's about the blood that has seeped into the threads of our shared history. I want him to feel the weight of my resolve, to understand that I've turned the tables. As I settle into a luxurious armchair, I can't help but recall the moments that led me here. The perfume in my car, the late-night phone calls, the way his charm turned to ice when no one was watching. I would gather the evidence, built my case, and now I am ready for my final act. The laughter that haunted me is no longer a ghost. It's a melody that propels me forward. I check my watch, feeling the anticipation thrumming in my chest. The night is still young, and I will make sure it ends with a crescendo moment where all the pieces fall into place, where I can finally confront Daniel and claim not just my future but my power. They thought I would crumble. Instead, I've risen from the ashes of betrayal, and tonight, I will show them just how powerful a woman can be when she decides to reclaim her narrative. The door swings open, and Daniel steps in, his smile faltering as he meets my gaze. Daniel strides toward me, confidence radiating off him like the warmth of an afternoon sun. He's dressed impeccably, of course a tailored suit, shoes polished to a mirror shine, the kind of man who walks through life as if the world were his runway. But tonight, that charm feels like a cheap Collignova bearing and offensive. "Charlotte," he says, his smile a weapon cloaked in charm, "you look stunning. Almost like you belong here." Belonging, the word hangs between us, a thread of tension woven with history and betrayal. I arch a brow, my lips curling into a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. "You're right. I do belong here, more than you ever did." His laughter is a brittle sound, a fod cracking under the weight of my words. I can see the flicker of shock in his eyes, a fleeting glimpse of the man who thought I would always be the quiet bride, the dutiful wife. But I've shed that skin, and what remains is a woman who knows how to play her cards without revealing her hand. "Come now, Charlotte, let's not make this awkward. We can still be civil." His voice is smooth, but the underlying arrogance sends a pulse of heat through me. Civil, that's rich, coming from the man who turned my life into a stage for his infidelity. Civil is for the weak, Daniel. I am here to reclaim my power, not polish your tarnished reputation. He steps closer, the space between us charged with unspoken words, each syllable a calculated maneuver in this battle of wits. "You think this is a game?" I tilt my head, feigning innocence. "Isn't it? You taught me well." I watch his jaw tighten, the realization of my transformation settling in like a heavy fog. "Charlotte, don't be foolish. You're making a mistake," he warns, but there's a tremor in his voice, a crack in his armor. "No, Daniel. The mistake was thinking I would remain in your shadow forever." I lean back slightly in my chair, the plush upholstery cradling me like a throne. I am not afraid of you anymore. I've built an empire from the ashes of your betrayal, and I am just getting started. His expression morphs from arrogance to something darker, something that suggests he's just beginning to grasp the magnitude of what I've done. The laughter from the bar drifts through the air, a reminder that the world is watching our world, where reputation is currency, and tonight, I am the one with the richest account. Do you really think you can turn this around? This isn't a fairy tale, Charlotte, he sneers, but there's a hint of desperation in his tone. The balcony stretches out over the city like a stage, the twinkling lights below competing with the stars above. I lean against the wrought iron railing, a delicate yet formidable barrier between me and Daniel. The night air is thick with tension, the kind that crackles like electricity just before a storm. The city of Boston sprawls beneath us, a tapestry of wealth and secrets, and here I stand, a queen surveying her kingdom. Daniel steps closer, his polished shoes tapping against the slate tiles, echoing our historia rhythm that once lulled me to sleep but now stirs a fierce resolve within me. You think I haven't seen your moves, Charlotte. You think I am afraid of a woman scorned. I laugh, a sound sharp enough to cut through the dark. Afraid? Please, you should be terrified. I've turned your betrayal into my greatest asset. I straighten, my posture radiating confidence, the kind that commands attention. Did you really think I would just roll over and play the victim? You underestimated me, Daniel. That's your first mistake. The wind tugs at my hair, and I let it dance, much like my thoughts. I am not here to play nice. I am here to dismantle the carefully constructed facade he wears like a second skin. I've got connections, Daniel. The press. Thayer eating out of my hand. I turned your little affair into a public spectacle, and your reputation is crumbling like the remnants of our marriage. His jaw tightens, the flicker of panic in his eyes is delicious. You're playing a dangerous game. This isn't just about us anymore. I take a step forward, closing the distance, the air between us thick with the scent of betrayal and ambition. Oh, but it is. It's about everything you thought you could take from meth life we built, the dreams you shattered. You're not the only one who knows how to manipulate a narrative. I can see the wheels turning in his mind, the realization dawning that I am no longer the knave bride he could control with charm and deceit. I've built my own empire, one that thrives on the very secrets he thought would bury me. You chose your path, Daniel, and I've chosen mine. You may have left me with nothing, but I've turned that nothing into a weapon. He runs a hand through his hair, frustration radiating off him like heat from pavement. You don't know what you're doing. You're playing with fire. I smirk, the thrill of power coursing through me. Fire? No, darling. I am the one wielding the match. With that, I turn my back on him, the city sprawling out before me, a canvas of opportunities waiting to be seized. The private members' club buzzes around us, a symphony of laughter and clinking glasses, but in this moment, it all fades into an indistinct hum. Daniel stands before me, a statue of disbelief, the weight of his arrogance pressing down on him like the velvet drapes that frame the room. The flickering candlelight dances across the polished mahogany bar, casting shadows that echo the darkness of our shared past. Charlotte, he says, his voice trembling slightly, you're making a fool of yourself. A fool? The word ricochets in my mind like a bullet, but I don't flinch. I've been labeled worse. No, Daniel, the fool was you, believing you could discard me without consequence. I step closer, letting the tension coil between us, a taut wire ready to snap. You underestimated me at every turn. You thought I would fade away, but here I stand stronger, smarter, and utterly unshackled. His gaze hardens, steel replacing the shock. You've got nothing but a few sympathetic headlines. You think that's power? I laugh, the sound crisp and sharp, cutting through his bravado. Sympathy? No, darling. I've turned your scandal into a narrative of resilience. You think I am just some woman scorned. I am a force of nature. The press? They're not just reporting my story. They're rooting for me. It's your downfall they're reveling in. I watch as the realization seeps into his features, the slow dawning of understanding that I've spun the web of our divorce into a tapestry of public sympathy and private vengeance. I lean in slightly, my voice a whisper that drips with honeyed malice. Every laugh at that wedding, every snicker behind your back it's transformed into a movement. I am not just reclaiming my life, I am rewriting the narrative. The club members steal glances, their eyes darting between us, entertained by this unexpected drama. I revel in the attention, the energy of the room shifting towards me. I am the main event, and Daniel is merely the supporting actor in my grand performance. Charlotte, don't make a scene, he warns, but it's too late. The scene is already unfolding, and I am the director, orchestrating every note with precision. You think you can just walk away from this? You think you can erase me? I arch an eyebrow, a smile playing on my lips. Erase you? No, darling. I will ensure you're etched into every headline and every whispered conversation. You'll be the cautionary tale in the story of my rebirth. With that, I turn my back on him, the city sprawled out like a treasure map waiting to be explored. The heavy oak doors of the private members' club swing shut behind me, cutting off the electric tension of the room. I step out into the cool Boston night, the air crisp and alive with possibility. The city lights twinkle like stars fallen to earth, illuminating the streets with a glow that feels like a fresh start. My heels click against the cobblestones, a sharp staccato that punctuates the rhythm of my newfound freedom. I pause for a moment, taking in the skyline, a jagged silhouette against the dark velvet of the sky. There's a magic to the night that draws me in, wrapping me in a cloak of daring. I can smell the salty air drifting in from the harbor, mingling with the faint scent of expensive perfume still lingering on my skin, a reminder of the armor I've donned for this battle. My reflection in the glass façade of the building reveals a woman transformed no longer the naive bride who walked down the aisle in white, but a warrior dressed in the crimson of my own making. As I walk, I can still hear the echoes of laughter from the club, but it no longer stings. It fuels me, igniting a fire that burns hotter with each step. They laughed at me then, I mused to myself, but now they will watch me rise. Each chuckle, each glib remark, has become the wind beneath my wings, propelling me forward instead of weighing me down. I am heading toward the Piazzetta, where the nightlife pulses with an energy that feels almost contagious. It's a favorite haunt of the elite, where whispers of scandal travel faster than the drinks. I weave through the throngs of people, their glamorous outfits glinting under the streetlights, a parade of privilege that once intimidated me. Now, I see them as allies in my ascent, each eye that glances my way a witness to my metamorphosis. Look at me, I think, a smirk tugging at the corners of my lips. I am not just a woman scorned, I am a force of nature. The laughter that haunted my wedding day has turned into a symphony of ambition, each note resonating with the promise of what I will achieve. I am ready to seize it all, to transform my pain into power, my betrayal into a battle cry. At the corner of the street, I spot a sleek black car waiting for me, its polished surface reflecting the glimmer of the city. I slide into the back seat, feeling the plush leather embrace me like a lover who understands my scars. Take me to the Imperial Palace, I instruct the driver, my voice steady and resolute. The hotel looms ahead, a beacon of sophistication and luxury, the perfect backdrop for the next chapter of my life. As the city whizzes by, my mind races with plans, strategies, and delightful revenge. Daniel might have thought he played his cards well, but I am the one holding the winning hand now. I will turn every ounce of laughter directed at me into a stepping stone, each one a reminder that I am not merely surviving, I am thriving. Tonight, the world is mine. Tonight, I embrace the woman I've become, and there's no looking back. If this story lit a fire inside you, don't leave quietly. Subscribe for more fierce betrayals, bold comebacks, and stories where the underdog takes the throne. Your next favorite revenge begins with a single click. Stay sharp, stay watching, stay dangerous.